Cybersecurity firm Mandiant has accused a secretive People's Liberation Army team known as Unit 61398 of hacking American targets. Mandiant says hundreds, if not thousands, of English-speaking hackers operate from a Unit 61398 building in suburban Shanghai and have stolen hundreds of terabytes of data from at least 141 organizations. It's the first time individual hackers have been traced to the immediate vicinity of a Chinese military location. But today the Chinese government hit back. It claimed the cyber attacks cited by Mandiant were carried out using hijacked internet protocol addresses, a common tactic for fooling investigators, and there was no proof of Chinese government involvement. Patrick Chovanec is an associate professor at Tsinghua University in Beijing.
Well, there's no smoking gun, and it probably will never be. But there's a pattern that looked like it was sponsored by the Chinese government, which, of course, makes it that much more, the implications are much greater than if it's simply private actors. There are a lot of different forms that this takes. Some of it is commercial in nature, going after corporate secrets or customer lists, client information. Some of it is strategic, vulnerability of critical infrastructure.
Mandiant examined computer hacks dating from 2006. It says that on average, the prolific hacking group it investigated would remain inside a network, stealing information and passwords for about a year. Among the group's targets was a Canadian company which designs software to remotely control critical oil and gas infrastructure. Yesterday, State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland said the US was working to strengthen its cyber defenses.
We've also regularly and repeatedly raised our concerns at the highest level with the Chinese government about cyber theft, including with senior Chinese officials, and the military will continue to do that.
Tsinghua University's Patrick Chovanec says cyber attacks fit into China's overall military strategy.
Rather than try to challenge the United States on a conventional basis, tank for tank, bomb for bomb, the strategy, and it makes a lot of sense, is to use asymmetrical means, look for vulnerabilities. And one of the key vulnerabilities in the United States is both the military and civilian dependence on data networks and exchange of information.
Rik Ferguson is director of security research at cybersecurity firm Trend Micro. He says advanced countries can be expected to use cutting-edge technology for espionage.
I suppose three terms are really important: espionage, sabotage, and warfare. And we don't get confused about those in real life, but it seems that there's a lot of bleeding between the lines in the digital world. And I think we need to be very clear that what we're talking about in almost every case that's been documented thus far, not just in that Mandiant report, but I mean in general, is espionage facilitated by digital and electronic means. There's a lot of finger pointing at China for the attacks in the Mandiant report. There's equally a lot of finger pointing, for example, at the US and at Israel for malware like Stuxnet, which was directly responsible, the malware I'm talking about was directly responsible for physical damage to nuclear installations, which is no small thing.
Ferguson says the Stuxnet attack on Iran's nuclear program may be interpreted by states around the globe as a green light to carry out such actions themselves.
Stuxnet was a game changer. The fact that people have not been prepared to explicitly deny involvement in that project definitely gives other people the green light to go ahead and try similar things. As I said, Stuxnet was an act of sabotage rather than espionage. Luckily for the US and everybody else, I guess, so far it's been the only real example that we've seen. Certainly don't think it will be the last.
Ferguson says China's high level of internet use and quality of technical education means the government there has a big talent pool to choose from. And Patrick Chovanec in Beijing says simply being able to call upon large numbers of people can be effective.
The fact that you can put thousands of people online targeting different websites, they don't all have to be crack experts to have that be a significant threat.
Chovanec says that for now, the best way for the US to respond to Chinese cyber espionage is to highlight the cost to China itself.
The cost is also to the willingness of companies, global companies, to do business in China, to bring higher value activities to China, to expose data to Chinese sources.
For its part, China's foreign ministry says that last year 14 million computers and 38,000 websites in China were hacked and remotely controlled by overseas IP addresses. Spokesman Hong Lei said the biggest source of such attacks was the US.